going on, Canucks fans? We're back with episode 2 of Blackfish. I'm Tyson Cole. He's Dave Hall. We got Jake Fraser in the back, making us look pretty on the back end. Dave, how's it going?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's episode 2. Much appreciated. Episode 1 went great, I thought. It was fun to chat and love all the support we've got so far. So looking forward to number 2.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for all the love in the YouTube comments and online and everything. We really, really appreciate it. And it's what keeps us going as we finish up this bad Canucks season. Anyway, Dave, you said the first episode was great. I feel like there was a little thing that we might want to clear up here. I know we worked on our letters throughout the week. That was one of your tasks. So can you properly pronounce NCAA for us real quick?
NCAA. Yes.
Perfect. There we go. See, we're
Gotta
making
love
improvement.
4 letters.
Four
Struggle.
letters right on the show. Speaking of the NCAA, we had the Frozen Four.
Yeah.
We had Denver taking down Michigan in what was a crazy game. Michigan had 52 shots to Denver's 26, but Johnny Hicks Hicks came up huge, 49 saves, and the double OT winner for, was it Boston Buckberger?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
no, he didn't score the goal, I don't think. No, but
he got the assist though on it.
Yeah, I believe he got the assist. Yeah.
I mean, what a name. What a hockey name. Boston
Yeah, just signed to Columbus too.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. So that's good. And then on the other side, we have Wisconsin going to the Final Four as well. And then, I mean, I already mentioned it, but Johnny Hicks, again, comes up with another stellar performance, Dave. I know you kind of just wrote about it at CanucksArmy. Do you want to just tell the listeners a little bit about Johnny Hicks?
Yeah, I just wrote, 3 goalies to, for whether it's the Canucks or just anyone to target for this offseason, a couple of European goalies as well. But Johnny Hicks, you're not going to find a more unconventional, goalie in the system right now. Was playing with the Brooks Bandits as of September 2025, dominated that, so much so that midway through the season, earned a spot up at the WHL. He left the BCHL with the best goals against, best save percentage, goes and dominates the WHL, makes it as a starting goalie, starts for the playoffs for the Victoria Royals, and then starts this year at Denver as a freshman backup. Basically commands the crease and then earns the starting spot. He didn't lose a single game this season. He was 16-0-1. And to make it even crazier, dating back to 2003, I believe it is, his record is 77-11-2.
Wow.
He just doesn't lose. So he's a bit unconventional. He's 5'10". As it stands right now, the list of current NHL goalies that stand under 6 is 1, UC Saros. And, the list all time isn't very long. Obviously, you got your Jose Theodores, you got your, Tim Thomases, all that. But he's unconventional. So, will he get a shot? Who knows? But, I mean, this kid does one thing, and that's win. And he put on a show this weekend. It was incredible.
I don't think Canucks fans are going to appreciate you bringing up the name of Tim Thomas after 2011. But hey, well, if that's the kind of projection that he might have, then, I mean, Johnny Hicks could be a player in the NHL for sure. I didn't mention this, but Denver goes on to win the national championship. Good for them. I want to talk a little bit about David Carl because he's been a kind of a polarizing coach in the college hockey space for a while. He's been looked at for NHL jobs, and I'm wondering if now is the right time for him. I mean, his track record at Denver is unbelievable. He's coached the team 7 years since 2018. They obviously didn't play the 2020 season for COVID, but he's made 5 of the 7 Frozen Fours. He's won 3 national championships now. What does he really have to prove anymore at the NCAA level? Could he be ready to take on an NHL role? Now, he got offered a lucrative contract by the Chicago Blackhawks. I believe it might have been last year, the year before. And he turned it down because he wanted to go back. And he's got a good situation in Denver and everything. But now I'm wondering, after a 3rd national championship, does he want to go test out the NHL market? And I mean, Vancouver might be looking for a head coach in a couple weeks here after the season. So, and he's got a pretty good connection with one of their best defensemen, Zeev Buium, as he played for Denver. Do you see any kind of path towards him leaving the NCAA and potentially coming to Vancouver?
Yeah, look, I have no, I haven't talked to anyone about this, so this is just me going off of what I think. I feel for me, if he wanted to be an NHL coach, he would have been an NHL coach. What I've heard about him is, he's got a really nice, stable family life at home. He likes to take the kids to school. He's making good money where he is. He's winning. He's happy and proud of what he's doing over there. So everything that I've heard is he enjoys the stability. Now, so, whether he's a coach this year, maybe not, but as his kids get older and, maybe, he's not dropping them off at school, as much as he would when they were younger, maybe then is the time to pluck them. But I mean, it's no question that he is undeniably the best coach outside of the NHL at the moment. So if you can find a way to get him, offer him, I don't know, at this point, maybe it's a $10 million contract to get him. I don't know. But if you can get him, great. From everything that I've heard, I just don't know if that's kind of what he's looking for at this moment.
Yeah, you mentioned that he's doing a lot of winning in Denver. If he comes to Vancouver, don't know how much winning he's going to be doing. So it's a good point. But just with Zeev Buium on the Canucks now, I thought that might be a kind of good comparison to draw.
No, for sure.
Might get him in. But like you said, why would he kind of leave a winning situation to come to a losing one, right?
Yep.
Anyway, let's go to our prospect roundup. And we've only got 3 Canucks prospects in the playoffs right now in the second round of the CHL. We got Braden Coots, obviously polarizing guy in the market. He had a wicked first period, actually. The Raiders outshot the Blades 19-2, and they were up 3-0 after the first. Coots picks up 2 assists, one on the game-winning goal, one on the insurance goal. And then it was another impressive start for game 2 for the Raiders. 11-3 were the shots, and then they went on to win 3-0, I believe, and the series is currently 2-0. So what have you seen in Braden Coots' game through the first 2?
Yeah, I mean, like, for one thing, Saskatoon, great story. They upset Edmonton Oil Kings, rather, in 7 games. They're going to get dominated. Prince Albert is just a wagon. For me with Coots, he put up 2 assists. That's great. Maybe you want to see a little bit more point production. I know there's a lot of stat people that love the points, but for me with Coots, it's everything but the points for him. Like I went back and watched every single shift that he had from round 1, and I put out a bit of a montage just of like everything that he did. And this is like all he does is put everything on the ice. Like we're talking like, frames where the other team is carrying the puck up. There's no Prince Albert in sight. And all of a sudden, Braden Coots comes up from behind like Pavel Datsyuk, strips the puck and turns it over. He's running forechecks. He's banging bodies. Like, he just doesn't give up on plays. And so, like, for me, whenever I watch his game, like, I highly encourage everyone to just go watch him. If you want to watch the stats, that's fine. It's great. 2 assists is awesome. But I highly encourage you just to go watch him. He's the kind of guy that you want on your team when you're in a playoff battle and you want to win a game. He's just doing all the little things that aren't going to get brought up on the clips or talked about on the shows, but he just does it all. So he's super fun to watch. And that's been my most intriguing part about him, is just his compete level and his ability to leave it all on the ice, because that's all he's doing. It's pretty impressive. He's a ton of fun.
Yeah, Canucks fans should be excited because, he is kind of taking control of some games here. And so that could be an encouraging sign for next year, whether he joins the Vancouver or Abbotsford. Now we'll go over to Parker Alcoas. I don't have too much on him. He's pointless through 2 games and Kelowna down 2-0 in the series. But it's pretty impressive that I see he had 6 shots on goal in his last game, and he's a +1 rating despite allowing, a few goals and being on the losing end of the series record. And then we go over to the OHL. Gabe Sherratt, he had 2 assists and a +2 in game 1, but then it was held pointless. But his Kitchener Rangers hold a 2-0 lead over Chase Reed's Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. I'll go over the AHL now, where you saw Riley Patterson play this week. I could tell you all the stats, but I feel like, Dave, let's talk. You watched it firsthand. How did Riley Patterson do in his first debut in the AHL?
Yeah, it was great. He came out the gate, you could tell he was feeling the nerves a little bit. And, for him, it was interesting because, as I kind of anticipated and I alluded to last week, they don't have a stacked team. So he was not only playing, he was playing a ton of minutes. He was centering Bennett Shimmick, who just continues to impress.
Your favorite?
Oh, he's amazing. Sorry, I shouldn't say amazing, but he's been awesome. He was centering Bennett Shimmick and Archie Baines, and he, like I said, first period was a little shaky. And unfortunately for him, it's a little bit of a different situation. Like, typically when it's a first game, they're kind of insulated a little bit, maybe third line, he's out there every couple minutes. So the mistakes don't really pile up. It wasn't the case for him. He was playing a lot in the first period, and he made some nervous errors. And so, you're wondering if that was going to continue. But as soon as he went down the tunnel, And to the second, it was a completely different story. For the rest of the weekend, that trio just had such good chemistry. And he was making some really good plays. Didn't get a point in his first game, but then one of his first shifts in game two, vintage Riley Patterson shot, just takes the puck from Archdeep Bain's shot in the middle here. You're seeing on the screen, and just snipes it from the slot. We saw so much of that in the OHL this year. That was great. 2 minutes later, not even 2 minutes later, on the power play, he makes a really nice bait and play with Bennett Shimmick, where he just forces all the defensemen to come to him and then just passes it over to Shimmick. Archdeep Bains cleans up the rebound. Shout out to Archdeep Bains, by the way. He tied Christian Wolanin for the franchise lead in assists with 109. So congratulations to him. But overall, it was a great weekend for Patterson. You definitely saw some of the things he's going to need to work on. He's going to need to get a little bit bigger, going to work on the skating a little bit. But overall, it was a really encouraging weekend, and one that you really want to see from a young kid, because now he's going to get 4 games under his belt and kind of get that, this is what I have to do in the offseason. This is what the pros feel like. It was a lot faster than I remember in Niagara. So now he kind of takes that firsthand knowledge, takes the offseason, and I don't think he's going to push for a spot in Vancouver by no means next year, but he's probably going to get a nice run in Abbotsford next year. So all things said, it was a pretty encouraging weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about getting that taste of the next level before they go into the offseason, so they know what to work on, because that's probably where he'll end up playing next year, and then hopefully he can kind of further develop his game. You mentioned that, and we have the same situation with Ty Mueller in Vancouver. We touched on it last week. He was kind of in and out of the lineup, and we wanted to see a little bit more out of him before we kind of dove in on what his game was. And he got 2 games in. He played against the Sharks and he played against the Ducks. And I definitely noticed him a little bit more in the Anaheim game. I mean, his line was awesome. He would have picked up his first NHL point if Aatu Raty didn't tip it in the net front. But he makes the play here. He comes with speed through the neutral zone, kind of weaves through traffic, protects the puck, and then just drops it off, makes a smart play to Kudryavtsev, and then it leads to a goal. So I really like that, to see that at a Ty Mueller. It's kind of what you saw of his play in Abbotsford, where he's kind of controlling the puck and using his speed to his advantage. And that fourth line of him, Ratu, and Douglas, they were actually the best 5-on-5 line for the Canucks in that game. They led the all Canucks lines in Corsi 4. So they were the only ones that were positive in that aspect. So they were the only benefit where they were controlling play, and they outshot their opponent 5-1 at 5-on-5. Wow. So just dominating performance by that line. It was, granted, it wasn't as much ice time as the other ones, but it was good to see at a tie. And then I want to say the same thing about Kudryavtsev, because, it's only one game. I'd like to talk about him next week, see if he gets in these final 2 games and get a bigger sample size of everything. But I mean, it was a strong performance. I mean, he picked up his first NHL point on the play we just showed. Kind of funny. How do they decide who gets the puck? I'm assuming Douglas gets the puck because it's first goal, but Kudryavtsev won't get that first elusive point puck. So yeah, it's just hard to judge his game entirely on just one performance. But I mean, I thought he was steady. I did
15 minutes.
Yeah, 14. I got 14 minutes here, so 14, 16. But he had the highest Corsi 4 of any of the Canucks defensemen, and it was in the positive. So they were producing more than they were allowing when he was on the ice. So I thought it was overall a pretty good outing for Kudryavtsev. And it's probably something that we've seen most of the year of him in Abbotsford, where he kind of controls the play a little bit more than allowed defensively. All right, Dave. I think this is
that's just the kind of game. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that's just the kind of game that you're going to get with Kirill, like he's not that guy that's going to put up those like gaudy numbers or flashy, up ice rushes. He's just a simple, smart first pass, get it the heck out and just, get the job done. He doesn't want to get that fancy, like he doesn't want to do the fancy stuff. He just wants to get the job done. So I was really impressed. One thing I was curious about, has it ever happened before where you got a first NHL goal, a first NHL point, and a first NHL point?
I don't know. I
like
feel
when Ty Mueller first had it, like that had to have been a first when you have all 3 getting their first points or first goals, first assist. Like that would have been something.
That would have been something. I don't know. That's something we'll have to dive into the archives and see if we can
Absolutely.
figure out for next show. Or if anybody knows that, leave it in the comments
Leave
below.
it in the comments.
All right, Dave, I think it's time. I think it's time that we have the debate because I feel like that's what everybody wants to talk about.
Yep.
McKenna or
big debate.
Stenberg? McKenna versus Stenberg. It's a big talking point. Who knows if the Canucks get first overall? I think a lot of Canucks fans believe that they're going to fall to third just as Canucks luck is, but there's always a possibility that they get first or second and they can get their hands on one of these game-breaking wingers. We'll start with McKenna. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with him. I mean, as a 16-year-old in the WHL, he had 34 goals, 63 assists for 97 points in 61 games, 1.59 points per game. That was among some elite company as a 16-year-old. And then in his D-1, he topped it. He had 41 goals, 88 assists, 129 points in only 56 games, 2.5 points per game.
Come on.
It was unbelievable. I believe I have here, it's the third highest points per game average in CHL history, with only Crosby and Bedard since, I think there was maybe 20 of them, but those were the only three that have done it since 1993. So I'm not sure if you guys know the names of Sidney Crosby and Connor Bedard, but those are pretty elite names to be roped in with.
Okay.
And then this year, he jumps over to the NCAA. And he wants to challenge himself. He doesn't have anything else to prove. They won the WHL. They went to Memorial Cup. They were within one game. I mean, they dominated that round robin, but they didn't get it done. He challenges himself. And, at the start, it kind of didn't work out. A lot of people were kind of doubting him. He didn't really figure it out quite yet, but then he did. And then he ends up, it all seemed to change after the World Juniors. He goes to the World Juniors, and he kind of dominates. He puts up 2 points per game. I believe he had 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points in 7 games. And then his game really ramped up. And he found that next level. He found that extra gear, and he took off. He ended up finishing the season with 14 goals, 34 assists, 48 points in 32 games. And he finished second in the NCAA in points per game. Now, that is impressive as an 18-year-old. Those are some elite, NHL prospects in the NCAA, and he did better than all but one of them. And he's not even drafted yet. So his trajectory is high. He's one of the elite players in the draft. Going on to Stenberg. He had a great year himself. I mean, a lot of the talk, and you had him first for a lot of the year as well, and for good reason. He had a great year. His D-1 with the Djurgårdens, I believe, the J20, or was it Frölunda? Frölunda J20. Yeah, my bad. His D-1, he had 26 goals, 27 assists for 53 points in 27 games for the J20. And then this year, I mean, we were tracking it pretty hard. He could have broken Daniel Sedin's record for points by an eligible draftee. He didn't get it done, but he finished second. I mean, 11 goals, 22 assists, 33 points. His game kind of dipped a little bit after that World Juniors, which he had a great World Juniors. I mean, he led Team Sweden in scoring. He was playing in all 3 situations, and they won the gold medal. So he was a gold medalist and the best team, or the best player on the team for a gold medal winning team. There's a lot to talk about these guys, Dave. Did you have any opening remarks on either of them before we start comparing the two?
No, like you already said at the top, one thing with McKenna, and this is the same with, a guy like Keaton Verhoff too, you do have to take everything with a bit of a grain of salt because, especially at the starting of the year when everyone was concerned, this is a kid that could have went back to WHL and probably, picked up 150 points, right? And so you do have to really be impressed with the fact that he wanted to challenge himself and go over there. And it's also important to note that in that back half, while the first half he did get quite a few power play points, there was a lot on the power play. A lot of his production came out even strength in the back half. So not only did he pop off, he was popping off at even strength. So I think you nailed it completely. And I guess we'll just talk about them both now.
I just want to preface this. They're both phenomenal players. Whatever.
Can't go wrong.
And this is just us trying to nitpick between the two because it is a hard decision at the top. Both are elite. I just want to read off a couple things. I had an interview with one of the Penn State editors. Just talked about Gavin and his situation, because I kind of want to make the point that Gavin did all of this, finished second in NCAA scoring, and he didn't really have a lot of surrounding help.
No.
Like he pretty much did it on his own. And this is what the editor said. Penn State had a line last year: J.J. Webush, Charlie Serrato, and Matt DeMarsico. They lit up the second half of last year, and heading into this year, I was curious to see if they would split them up on the top line and put Gavin with Charlie, who in my eyes is the best offensive player driver, before Evan got there. They didn't end up doing it. For the first month of the season, Guy Gadowski bounced his lines in what felt like every single game. There was a point of the season where the center on Gavin's line couldn't win a faceoff. They'd go 33 to 40% in the dot, so his line didn't have possession of the puck. If you look at the talent on Penn State's team, McKenna is not even playing with the best center right now. He's playing with Fink, who's a top winger, but he's not a guy who's going to create much for anyone else. So Gavin has really had to do all of it on his own. He's had to play with probably 7 or 8 different guys throughout the season, where you're not necessarily seeing that across the country with some other big names. Now, he's doing all of it with changing line mates, so he's not building chemistry. And these players aren't necessarily NHL talents either. So he's doing it all on his own. And then he finished second in NCAA scoring. Now, on the other side, I also talked to Freddie Sjostrom. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He's the GM of Frölunda, and I wanted to kind of dive into Stenberg's game. All of these are on Daily Faceoff. You can go check it out. But this is what Freddie had to say on Stenberg. I've been in Frölunda for 10 years now, and I've had some really good players come through our system. Rasmus Dahlin, Lucas Raymond, and Ivar's definitely up there. He's a special player. Obviously, we know that a player like this doesn't come around all the time for us either. Very special kid, very special player, someone that I think is going to go far. I would definitely say his smartness and overall hockey sense is what separates him from his peers. He has the ability to kind of slow the game down to his preference. He could play fast-paced games, but it just seems like everything slows down for him. He's so aware of everything that goes on around him. He knows where everybody is all the time. I would say it's his hockey sense is what really sticks out.
Yeah.
So high praise for both of these guys. So I just wanted to say that and talk them up a little bit before we kind of narrow it down and kind of break their games down kind of aspect by aspect. Skating, we'll start there. McKenna's skating, to me, looks like he has lead edge work. The straight ahead speed, when he gets going, is quick, but it takes him a little bit to get there. In my eyes, do you have anything on McKenna's skating?
Yeah, I think I agree. He's not a burner. Neither of these players are burners. I think if you were to rate them on a 10, it's probably like a 6, 7 in terms of speed. But the nice thing is, especially with Gavin, well, with both of them, we'll get into Stenberg too, but with Gavin, I don't think he really needs it. He plays like a real East-West game where he doesn't actually need the speed to beat you. He's more of a bait and then burn you with quick maneuvers kind of guy. So, I know there's a lot of comparables, and everyone who follows me knows I hate comparables, but I do think Patrick Kane is the perfect comparable, because Patrick Kane's not a burner. Patrick Kane's not a physical guy, but what he does is, like I said, he baits you in, forces 1 to 2 guys to come towards you before you kind of go around and maneuver wise. So his puck handling and his IQ are so high that I don't actually think McKenna needs to be a burner for him to be effective. So I agree, he's not the fastest guy, but his fluid edge work is definitely going to help him out.
Stenberg.
Yeah, it's the same thing too. The nice thing I think about both of them is they both are actually, as you mentioned, even in the quote, they both have this uncanny ability to slow that game down. The thing I love about Stenberg's game, and although the skating might not be great, is that he has this power element to him where he's not the biggest guy, but he's so powerful, and so he has this ability to kind of bait you in and then drop his shoulder and protect the puck, like on so many of his clips. And he does have a little bit more ice to work with in the SHL NHL level, but in so many of his clips, you see him just drop by and just cycle the entire back of the net just by protecting the net. And so, again, I just don't know if you really need that, burner speed. He is a bit more north south than Gavin McKenna, but I just think at the end of the day, they both are just so high IQ players that I don't really necessarily think they need to be burners. I think they'll both work on it. I think McKenna, just because of his edges, takes a little bit of an edge on that one. But I think Stenberg's got the power element to him. So
okay, so if we had to give one guy the tick in the skating category, you would lean
very, very slim McKenna, just because.
McKenna. Just because of the edge work?
Just because of the edge work, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's not to say that Stenberg doesn't have edge work, but it's so slim. But I'm going to give it to McKenna.
Yeah, I think, well, from what I've seen, and you've obviously watched a little bit more Stenberg than I have, I think both of them, right, they both have elite edge work, and they do have the ability to draw people in and then make that right play, and deke around a guy. So, it might just be because I've watched more McKenna, but I would also lean McKenna in the skating category. Another shot. But now both players are more of a playmaker traditionally, but from the highlights I've seen, like when they see a corner, when they can pick a pocket, they're going to do it. Dave, talk about their shooting.
Yeah, to be honest, I actually think Gavin McKenna's shot is a bit of an underrated aspect. He's got this, he's got a bit of a unique way, release. He doesn't look like, he's not like a toe drag guy, but he likes to get it off quick. The only thing about Gavin is a plus and a negative is he's always kind of looking for that showtime goal. He's always looking to go corner. He's always looking to go bar down, but he's able to get his release off real quick. And so I think his shot is a bit of an underrated thing. I just think he could stand to just take more shots rather than A, look for passing all the time, and B, stop looking for, the highlight reel goal all the time. I just think, there are, especially in the NHL level, you're going to have to take advantage of more spots. Now with Stenberg, again, a negative and the positive, he has more of a curl and drag release, which is great, but it takes him a couple extra, maybe a second to get off, which doesn't always help in quick positions. It's fine on the power play and all that stuff, but I do think he needs to get that shot off a little quick. But when he does get it off, he can snap it. I do think he's a little bit more deliberate with his shooting, rather than Gavin, who's always trying to go for that highlight. I think Stenberg's always, he's happy to get the puck on net and create chaos in front of the net and go for that pad shot or, something to create more chaos than just going for that flashy goal. It's not to say that he can't score that bar down. He's got a great one-timer too. But I just think it takes a little bit more time to get off. And so both great shooters though. But I do think Gavin's a little bit underrated. I think, everyone talks about his vision, but I do think his shot is going to be a deadly weapon on the power play.
Okay. So to put it in Call of Duty terms,
as you do.
Yeah. McKenna's more hip fire because he can shoot it quick, but Stenberg he's gonna hold the left trigger to aim down the barrel.
You got it
down the sight and shoot. Right.
Honestly, Tyson, I did not think you could actually come up with a Call of Duty comparison, but I think that's perfect. Hip fire versus a sniper on the corner. Right. I love that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that makes sense to me though. I mean, the only thing do either of these, I know they're playmakers, but do either of these guys have shot volume? Do they shoot frequently, or are they mostly because I know you talked about, Stenberg trying to pick his spots a little bit more than McKenna, but McKenna also kind of waits to make that highlight reel goal happen. Yeah. So do any of these guys have shot volume trajectory?
Well, they both lean towards pass. And so that's why with Gavin, I do think he could score a lot more goals if he just stopped trying to look for the next pass. He's just always trying to look for the play, which is great. But I just think his shot is a good asset to him. So I do think because he's able to get it off so quick, I do think he could become he could score more goals if he was more volume. So the answer to your question is no. I think they could probably both stand to shoot a little more.
Gotcha. Okay. So just based on shooting, who gets the edge?
This one, I'm gonna say a little bit even because I think they both have. I'm gonna give them a tying score on this. I think they both have good shots, but both have things to work on, and so I think I'm just gonna go right across the board even.
Unfortunately, Dave, by my numbers, no one can have an even score. So okay. This is my numbers. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, McKenna.
All right. Now, passing, we just mentioned they're both pass first. This is their bread and butter. This is what made them top prospects in this year's draft. I don't know how you're going to decipher one or the other here, but I'll let you kick it off.
Well, this is how. So, as you already alluded to on the top of the show, like I've been Ivar Stenberg for most of the season, and it's only just recently that I finally just like after watching a few more games, just like okay, this is it. Like it just has to be McKenna. Oh, I guess I shouldn't say that yet, but like it's just like McKenna, they're both elite passers and they're both elite visionaries. But the thing about McKenna that's just so impressive is that, when you're watching a game and, you're sitting on a couch eating all your potato chips and you're laughing like, why didn't he pass to that guy? Like that lane was open. But when you're on the ice, it's completely different. You don't see those lanes. Well, Gavin McKenna does. He not only sees the lanes that you see, but he's actually creating ones that you don't even see. Like he just has this ability to just make things happen without a lane being there. I just love, and like his ability, you can tell that he's thinking ahead of the game because of his one touch plays, especially on the power play. Like he's just doing cross ice passes on a dime before even anyone can even react. Like by the time the puck comes from the umbrella and the defenseman's already like switching towards Gavin McKenna, the puck's already off his stick and going cross ice. Like it's quite something. So he's so good. Whereas with Stenberg, he's got that vision, but again, he uses that like puck protection where he's scanning the ice. He's protecting the puck, roaming around the ice as he looks for his next opponent or his next teammate rather, and he's able to make those passes. So he's elite too. But I think with Gavin, he's more of like he's thinking ahead of the game. He's stationary and he's making those plays. Whereas with Stenberg, it's kind of interesting because he's just always cycling around the ice and he's just scanning the ice at all times, and he's just able to make those nice threaded passes. So both just extreme. This is their, like you said, their bread and butter. But just what McKenna does with the puck is just insane.
It's really high end. I mean, both these guys have such good, high hockey IQ to be able to do it. It feels like, and I've heard a lot about this with Celebrini. He always keeps his head up.
Yeah.
So his head's up. He doesn't need to look at where the puck is on a stick. He knows it's there. Do both of these guys have that trait where like their head's up, they're scanning the ice at all times, so they know exactly where to get the play?
Yeah, for sure. And not only in those senses too, like what I always look for, and it's a bit of a subtle thing that not everyone looks for, but for me, it's like the shoulder checks, going into the corner, like, it's like, again, it seems so intuitive and of course they're going to shoulder check. But if you actually watch, a lot of players don't like it's a real thing where they're always scanning, and that's half of it. And so these guys are really smart with the puck and they always know where everyone is. So both of them do that. I just think they're both just real special passers. So
I mean, both have high level hockey IQ, as I already mentioned. I mean, I would lean McKenna just because, again, I've seen him a little bit more. That creativity comes out, and you can kind of see that that's the highest end that it could be.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go McKenna for passing. Dave, what say you?
Yep. Just like by a hair again, just by a hair, but I'm going to go McKenna as well. Yeah.
All right. What about puck control? It's a big kind of talking point. How do these guys dangle? Can they create space from nothing when they got two players coming at them, forecheckers, defensively, whatever, and can they stick handle in a phone booth, as many people like to say?
Yeah, I'll make this one quick because I already kind of talked about it and I can only like repeat it so much. But like that's where again, McKenna is more of that like I'm gonna burn you with my hands kind of style, where Stenberg is okay with just, you know what, I'm just gonna go through you. I'm gonna drop my shoulder and I'm gonna make a move. Like he can dangle, but he's also just more of like a cerebral, like I'm gonna drive past you kind of guy. Whereas McKenna, he wants you to challenge him because then he's just gonna make you look silly. So that's what I really like McKenna for. He's a phone booth kind of guy. Stenberg does have hands, like don't get me wrong, he can do it, but he's just more of that power guy. I'm gonna drive and kind of cycle around for my next option.
It's also interesting because you mentioned Stenberg's a little bit more powerful. He does have 10 pounds on Gavin McKenna. McKenna's 170 last time I checked, and Stenberg's more 180. But again, it's not that different. But just the way they attack players, it's interesting because Stenberg will challenge you. He's comfortable with his frame and he's not worried about getting knocked off the puck. Whereas McKenna, like you mentioned earlier when we talked about his skating, like he's going to draw you in and then he's going to burn you with his quick feet and agility.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I haven't met him yet. I'm excited to be there in June to meet him. But I'm envisioning with Stenberg, Sidney Crosby horse legs. Like he's just so
mhm,
powerful. Like he's not a huge guy, but he plays so much bigger than he is. So I'm just envisioning his bottom half just being gigantic. So
mhm. All right, okay. A little bit more about puck control because, like, do either of these guys try a little too much sometimes, and it leads to turnovers? Like, are they too creative where they think they can do something more than they can, and then it results in a turnover? Because that is a part of puck control as well.
yeah, sort of. I mean, to be honest, they're both pretty smart, and I don't think there's that many as many turnovers as you think. For me, I think this is where we've been gushing over Gavin McKenna, and like if you're listening to this, you're already like, oh, well, then it's obviously McKenna. Why would it ever be Stenberg? Like obviously, but this is where the game starts to kind of slip in Stenberg's favor because with Gavin McKenna, like he does try a little too much, but the issue with him is he is a little soft on the puck. So while he wants to bait you and burn you off the thing, he is, I don't want to say easily pushed off the puck, but he is a little soft in the physicality. So he can be rubbed out. He can get the puck taken away from him when he's trying too much. So I don't know about trying too much because I think they're both, I think you're always going to get a little bit of that give and take trying too much with like especially a guy like McKenna, whose game is entirely built off trying a lot. So I just think like you're just naturally going to get a little bit maybe quote unquote trying too much, but I don't think for me it's not a concern because that's where he's brilliant, right? And so
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if there's trying too much. Like I definitely know what you mean. Where there's some players that we'll talk about next week who I do think try a little too much, but I think with these guys, Stenberg's safe. McKenna tries a lot, but I think it's a give and take where you kind of expect it. So, but he does
Yeah,
get pushed
and
off the puck.
when they're trying too much sometimes because they can pull it off, so it doesn't look like they're trying too hard or too much,
Yeah,
right? So if you had to give an edge to puck control with after all we talked about,
McKenna,
okay,
McKenna for sure.
yeah, all right.
Stenberg's got that power element, but McKenna's just like his puck control is insane.
If he was when he's a character in EA Sports NHL, he's going to be a dangler. They're going to make a new one
Yes.
for Gavin McKenna. They brought
Yep.
it back for some others, but like actual player type, I bet you he'll be a dangler.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Defensively. Now, I think this is kind of where we'll see a little bit of things switch because you've seen Stenberg at the World Juniors. He was playing the penalty kill. He could do it all. I talked to Freddie. He said that they've tried him on the penalty kill a little bit. I don't necessarily know if you think that is much of Gavin's game, but I'll let you speak on it.
No, and you brought up the World Juniors, and I think it's good because I think that that 2 week tournament was pretty much a nice encapsulation of like who these players are. Gavin McKenna, you might not notice him all the time because he likes to lurk in the corners and jump at spots and just somehow put up 14 points. Whereas Stenberg, you notice because he's all over the ice, like working his power game. He's working, protecting pucks. He's grinding in the corners. He's winning battles. Like he's all over the ice, so he just kind of stands out more because he's always involved. And so that kind of sticks out on the defensive end. Not that Stenberg, like it's not like Stenberg's this like defensive, magician. He still has stuff to work on too. But with Stenberg, he's more of a two-way player where he's a little bit more responsible in all sides of the ice, and not only more responsible, he's a lot more involved and engaged. And so with that, he's able to kind of be more effective. Whereas with Gavin, not like like I don't think you can sugarcoat the fact that with Gavin, you're getting all offense. And in fact, he can leave you pretty frustrated in the defensive zone. Like we're talking like there's some shifts where you just don't even, you wonder if Gavin's even out there. Like he just kind of takes some shifts off. A lot of like flybys like that, that beer league hockey flyby that you just can't stand. Like honestly, it'll like I mentioned the word compete like 5 times in last week's episode. And you like by that, that's what I love. And so for me, watching a guy like Gavin McKenna, I can actually get a little frustrated sometimes because there's just such a lack of defensive awareness that it's a little frustrating. Whereas Stenberg, he's just a dependable guy. Like he's not going to have that upside, but he has such a nice floor as just like a real dependable producing two-way forward at the NHL level. And so with McKenna, but the reason why, like I do think there's things to there's some positive out of that with McKenna is he's a gamer. Like he's a hockey nerd. He loves hockey. And when he came back from World Juniors, I don't know if he was hearing the criticism or if he just had a fire lit up his butt from losing. But he came back a bit of a different player. Like he was being more engaged. Still not really winning puck battles because he's still a smaller set player. But he was a lot more engaged. At least giving a little bit of a second effort, which was nice. But there's still going to be a long way. But I think that's all something that can be coached. And so I do think, and the reason why I bring up that he's a hockey nerd is because I do think like there probably is a will for him to want to be the best player possible. I don't think he's a lazy player. I just think he's so offensively driven that it just kind of shows up in poor areas. So
yeah, he's probably thinking like, oh, I don't want to waste too much of my energy in the defensive zone when I can turn it up ice and create something offensively, which isn't the greatest mindset to have. But once you get to the NHL, you're going to learn that you can't do that. And
exactly.
So that will, and I mean, like, think about it. Like the NCAA, after it got easy for him, the WHL, that got easy for him, right? So the NHL isn't going to be easy for him.
Yep.
Not yet, at least, but he'll have some time to develop that defensive part of his game, whereas Stenberg kind of already has that, and he's not going to cheat the game.
Yep.
Like McKenna could at some point. So I think I know where we're going to go here, but defense.
Yeah, Stenberg, easy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Now just some quick, I know you kind of just touched on it, but I wanted to kind of talk a bit more about where these guys need to improve. So you don't need to go into detail, Dave, but like maybe 3 quick points of what Gavin needs to improve on and what Stenberg needs to improve on.
Gonna have to add weight, easy, hit the gym. That's why you love the NCAA level. He's gonna have to add just a competitive edge to his game and just a little bit more just reliability in his own end.
And Stenberg,
it's kind of tough. Like I think he'll just need to work on everything, but he's not necessarily like, I think he's a polished player. Like I think he's NHL. If there's anyone out of these two, he's the NHL ready player. Like he could be plug and play next year. I mean, he's already confirmed he's not going back to Frölunda. So like there's already an avenue for him to play in the NHL AHL next year. And so for him, I think if there's something to work on, it's just going to be working on the smaller ice. Adjusting to that time difference on the ice. He's not going to have a lot of space out there. So we're going to see how that translation goes. And so that's why for me, even if it's at the AHL level, I'm really hoping to see him in North America next year, because I think overall he's a pretty polished player. I just think there's now just work on everything whilst adjusting to the North American game.
And I'm going to be honest here. I'm a bad co-host because I forgot that you don't like to do comparables. So I was going to ask you for comparables here. So since you don't like doing it, I'll give mine, and then I'll ask you what you think of it.
Yeah.
And the way I thought about this is I was just looking at current teams in the NHL right now. And so you can compare 2 players, right? And so I thought like, okay, well, let's go to the Minnesota Wild. I think Gavin McKenna has the upside to be like a Kirill Kaprizov, where if he utilizes his shot a little bit more, he can score more goals, but he is that playmaking winger that you like to see. Whereas now I compared Stenberg to a Zuccarello because he is a playmaking winger on the other side, but he's not that like high end projection that you're going to get with a Kirill Kaprizov, right?
Yeah.
He's he's a little bit more defensively sound than a Kaprizov would be. So I thought that was a decent comparable. Like both are fantastic NHL players. Zuccarello, like I believe he's maxed out somewhere in the 80s of points, but he's always that kind of like 60 to 70 consistent point contributor, whereas you have the upside of reaching well over 100 points with Kaprizov. What did you think about that comparison?
From like an offense, like from like a numbers game, I think that's fine. I think that's fair. And I think with Stenberg, I think that you would hit the higher end. Like I do think he does have that, he does have enough in his toolkit to be an 80 point 85-ish, like consistently, not just like hit it once and a one and done. But I think that's fine. I think like I do think I do hate comparables, but I do think Patrick Kane is like the perfect comparable for McKenna. I just think everything about his game, the way he navigates himself on the ice and the point production, I think Patrick Kane is the perfect comparable to him. But yeah, how about this? Like, again, numbers wise.
Yeah. How about this? Okay, we'll do Patrick Kane, but imagine Patrick Kane in his prime on the Red Wings, and then Stenberg's like Lucas Raymond.
Yeah, I like that a lot more.
Okay,
I like cool. Lucas Raymond a lot more.
So with those comparables, Dave, and with what we did, I'm just going to run through my numbers again. Skating we gave to McKenna, shooting we gave to McKenna, passing we gave to McKenna, Puck control we gave to McKenna. Defense we gave to Stenberg.
Yep.
That's a pretty big edge. So I would now ask you, if the Canucks had the first overall pick, who are you going with and why?
Yeah, as I said, again, these are all very slim margins. So although McKenna took it, but I think for me, you're going at, it's a test of ceiling and floor. With Stenberg, you've got a tremendous floor where I think no matter what, you're getting a top 6 player that's going to give you 70 points and just be a nice forward. Whereas with McKenna, I think you have a 100-point projection if it all works out. I still think he's going to be an effective forward no matter what. You just wonder if he's, a power play guy like not a Victor Olofsson, but just a guy that's more power play driven, like just all. So I'm still giving it to McKenna. My edge is McKenna only because in that back half, he just went off. He was a lot more engaged 5-on-5, and I just think that was the edge that he needed. And I just think at this point, especially for the Vancouver Canucks specific, I just think I don't know if this will make sense, but it does in my head. I think the worry of taking him and him not hitting is far less than the miss on not taking him and him hitting. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think I don't think if you're the Vancouver Canucks, you can actually pass on him for that reason. Like, you just can't have him pass on him and hit,
Okay.
Like, I think the risk is way too far. So again, I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm going Gavin McKenna.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. I would lean McKenna as well. But again, I'm not going to be too upset if the Canucks fall one spot and they get Stenberg. He's going to be a phenomenal player too. But I just think if you look at what the Canucks need right now, well, it's everything for one, but they really lack like that number one offensive play driver.
Yep.
And like they need a superstar.
Yep.
And which of these two guys can be a superstar? It's Gavin McKenna.
Gavin McKenna.
And like just organizationally, what can you build around? Like who can be the face of your franchise? Like, I'm sure Stenberg can, but like, I know McKenna will. He's that polarizing guy that the Canucks have lacked for so long. So I just think like you said, if they pass on him and he hits, like that's going to be brutal for the Canucks fans to swallow, like for his whole entire career. So even if it's a swing and a miss and he doesn't become like that Patrick Kane level star, if he's kind of lower level, it doesn't matter. Like, also,
I agree.
I just want to say this, and I don't know if it's a good take or a bad take, but like, not all 12 forwards have to be defensively sound.
No,
I'm sorry. Like, they just don't. Like Patrick Kane wasn't, and everyone's talking about him as the best American of all time. And I would probably agree. Like, you don't have to be 100% perfect defensively to be good in this league. So I don't understand, like, if that's the only knock against McKenna, I don't think there's any knocks.
Yeah, and to be fair, you also you don't want to overcoach him, right? Like, you also you don't want to take away. Exactly. You don't want to, like, we've seen this before with a certain player, in the market already, where there you all of a sudden you start trying to change your game and be do all these defensive things, and suddenly you can't create offense. So I think you really have to worry about it. It's the same with like Chase Reed and all those guys. But one thing that I'll leave it on is like, we always talk, like, everyone in the market is talking about, the Canucks can't drop to 3. What defenseman are they going to take? I don't know if it's a sure thing that just because they get 3, they're not getting one of these players. Like, keep that in mind. Like, there's a lot of teams that are high on guys like Chase Reed. There's a lot of teams that are high on guys like Keaton Verhoff. Like, it's not a for sure thing that just because they lose that draft lottery, they're not getting one of these 2 guys. So just keep that in mind.
Just like our Tankathon last week, where we had San Jose moving up and picking first overall. I mean, that would be a team that I'd be interested to see what they do, because they need like a right shot offensive guy, and Chase Reed is shooting up the draft boards right now. They don't really need another all-star offensive playmaker. So that will be interesting to see down the stretch. But I believe, as a show, Blackfish, we both agree that if the Canucks get first overall, we would lean Gavin McKenna.
Gavin. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Now let's get to some listener questions from Eric Jin over on X. I was wondering if you guys had any thoughts on McKenna's skating. I watched him a bit this year at Penn State and noticed he's a little bit on the slower side and doesn't really have that agility as well.
Yeah, like we talked about, I think you're fine. Like you're spot on. I do think his skating's not extremely polished, but like I said, I also just don't know if his style, his brand of hockey, uh, really needs it. Like he's not going to beat you off the rush. He actually wants to stop off on the rush. So I just think like the way he plays, he's more east west. So I'm not concerned at the next level. I just think he's too skilled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all good points that I agree with there. We'll go to our next one from Michael over on X, and we can spend a little bit more time on this one. Is the Canucks' infatuation with Swedes a concern in them taking Stenberg over McKenna at 1? Does his complete game and impressive SHL numbers outweigh the concerns of another EP40 drop-off in attitude/play and fans' desire for more Canadians and McKenna?
Rub my eyes on this one. Like just yes. Like it doesn't. I'm over this nationality stuff. Like even, I even just wrote a Chase Reed thing and just like people are like, oh, American defenseman and, enough with Swedes and blah, blah. Like, again, I said it last week, but if you got an issue with Swedes, then you might as well just shut off the TV this year draft because this year's Swedish draft class is awesome. So like, I don't know. I just like, I don't think you can really judge like from everything that I know about this kid is he's just a competitive, he's just has it burning in him. Like he's good to go. So like, yeah, like Pedersen, he seemed to have that as well. I don't know. I'm sick of this narrative that's just like no more Swedes, no more this, blah blah. You take the best player available. If they think Stenberg's going to be the best player, then you take Stenberg. I'm over it. I'm over it.
Mm-hmm. I think fans will be pretty pissed off if they get first pick and they take Stenberg though,
I
because
agree.
of the
That's fine,
Swedish
but base it on because you think Gavin McKenna is the best player, not because
Stenberg.
McKenna is Swedish. Or sorry, Stenberg Swedish. Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I completely agree. I'm in the camp that like I don't care where they're from, as long as they're gonna make the team better, and as long as you think that they're the best player at the time, that's the decision
all
you
I
should be
care about.
making. It shouldn't be about where they're from, you know. And but I understand where fans are coming from because this regime is
I know.
Swedish. Like Patrick Galvin
I know.
is Swedish. He loves his Swedes. He's drafted a lot of them in his time here, but um, I just hope that it wouldn't be about that. But I can understand fans' angst.
No, I
Like,
I I get it too, and I even get the American, with Chase Reed, like, but hey, with Chase Reed, and we'll talk about this next week, but with Chase Reed, like he's come over to Canada. He's playing in Canada. He
sure.
elected to do that. Like, like I don't know. I'm just getting kind of sick of this. There's so many narratives that go into the draft, and for me, I just think nationality is just the worst argument.
Hey, your guys' favorite defenseman on the team right now, who are they? Zeev Buium,
Eve.
American. Tom Verlander, Swedish. DPD, Swedish. I mean, you're not complaining about those guys. So, I mean, I don't care where
Some
they're
are.
from. Just, but yeah. Anyway, we'll go to our last question, and we won't fully dive into this one. But we'll just give a little sneak preview as to what our show is going to be about next week. This one's from Tristan on X. If the Canucks draft third, assuming McKenna and Stenberg are both off the board, do you 1, draft a right-handed D in Verhoff or Reed, 2, draft a lefty in Smits or Carls, or 3, trade down to draft Malholtra, Lawrence, or Bjork? So now, Dave, don't give too much away, but you can go 1, 2, or 3 there. Would you go right D, left D, or trade down for center? Sweet.
Oh, I would love to trade down. I think with this draft class, I think you can get if like again, this is all hypothetical because it all depends on what you're getting. But if you can get like multiple picks somehow in the first round and still manage to get like a top 10 pick, I think you're still getting a really good player. So I wouldn't mind trading down. I think if I had to pick between the three, like I wouldn't mind trading down.
Trading down. All right. Yeah.
It seems crazy, but I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many variables. But I just think like the player, I don't know.
The
I
thing the
then
thing that I keep coming back to is this season has been a catastrophe.
yeah.
So to walk away from it and have the third pick and then trade down and say you're getting like the 7th or 8th pick and then another
No,
pick later, like, is that really what the grand prize that you want to walk away with this offseason is, like an 8th overall pick when it was so bad?
no, you're right.
I don't know. Like, I
Okay,
think you
all
kind
right.
of need to stick and draft.
You're now getting a live view of me every day with all these questions, because that's the one thing about this draft. There is no consensus from
Mhm.
one to the entire draft. There's no consensus. And I
Yeah.
think there's arguments for basically everyone. So you've convinced me. Right hand, Heath.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
I've contradicted myself within a minute. I'm going right hand,
Just
right
like
hand,
Dave
Heath.
did last week, he changed his mind every 2 minutes. So, or every 2 seconds, I should say. So, just a little sneak preview of what this show is going to be
This is
about
what I live with. This is
moving
what I live
forward.
with.
All right, our fifth and final segment. Thank you all so much. Sorry for the
Thanks.
questions. We really appreciate it. Next week, we're going to talk about what do the Canucks do at third, which is kind of what we just talked about a little bit. So if you have any questions regarding that, please leave them in the YouTube comments. We'll also do our call on Monday on our socials for any further questions, and then you can get a chance to be featured on the show.
This one's going to be wild.
Yeah, this one's going to
There's
be
a
a
lot to
long one.
talk
And
about.
I mean, the one right now is already a long one, but next week should be even longer. Our fifth segment, prospect of the week, Dave. Who you got for me this week?
It's got to be Braden Coots. I think they're going to punch a ticket to the third round, which they'll probably end up playing Everett Silvertips. So it's going to be one hell of a match if that happens. So going to have to go Braden Coots. It just kind of has to be.
I'm going Kirill Kudryavtsev, throw the guy a bone. Got his first NHL point, so good for him. And he doesn't get the puck. You got to feel bad for a guy, but I don't think he'll be crying too much with his AHL Calder Cup ring around his finger. All right. Well, got to do a Tankathon to wrap it up, don't we?
Real quick, yep.
Jake Fraser in the back. Let's bring it up. All right. So I just want...
Oh, there it is. Toronto. Oh, that's just the worst.
Okay. For one, I was just going to do a little reminder of what happened last week, and then Jake got trigger happy with the with the sim lottery button.
That's just the worst.
Canucks went from 1 to 2, so it wasn't too bad. And we liked that the San Jose Sharks moved from 10 to 1 because we thought, they're kind of playing with a little bit of house money moving up so high. So maybe they'll go for positional need. And then, McKenna and Stenberg would both fall to the Canucks at 2. Not what happened this time, I'll tell you. I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy. For the podcast listeners there, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs moving up to 1. They move up 4 spots. Number 2, the Winnipeg Jets moving up, I believe, is at 6 spots. And your Vancouver Canucks falling to 3rd. So, I mean, was it 2016 that it was Toronto, Winnipeg, and then another Canadian team? Or was that... Or... Oh, no, I think Edmonton picked 4th and picked Puljujarvi. But anyway, 3 straight Canadian teams.
Hey, that's something.
In the top 3. Yeah, sure. Like, I don't think many people are going to be happy about that Vancouver's the 3rd one.
Brutal.
Yeah, well, hopefully, we're still looking for our first one, but hopefully, if we don't hit one on the show, and it means that the Canucks only win the real one, I'm not going to be too upset about that.
No, totally.
Yeah.
We will be the sacrificial lambs.
Just quickly, if it goes Toronto, Winnipeg, Vancouver, who do those 2 above Vancouver take?
I think they're kind of in the same boat. So I think they just take at this point it could be anyone, because I think they need anything.
Yeah.
Like so there's no like I said, I like your argument with San Jose going defense last week, but this week I just think they just take whatever is available to them and whoever they think that is the best.
Yeah, they'll follow suit and just take
Gavin.
wingers. All right, well, that wraps up our show. This one was a fun one. I loved breaking down McKenna's game, Stenberg's game, and I mean, at the end of the day, if the Canucks get a top 2 pick, they're going to walk away with an absolute stud. So we'll be happy either way. Jake Fraser in the back hitting switches, making us look pretty. Dave Hall on the other end here, my co-host. I'm Tyson Cole. Thank you so much for watching. This has been episode 2 of Blackfish.